Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Clinical Scoop. My name is Dan Sfera. I've got world famous Chris Sauber and Dr. Al Jazairali on the show. We are missing Monica, but Monica is busy with a study right now. So how's it going, gentlemen? How's it going, guys?
It's going very well. Sounds like you're on a motorcycle.
Yeah. Are you on a motorcycle? Sound like.
No, but there's a motorcycle. There's guys behind me here. So I wanted to talk about Biogen. I wanted to talk about the Alzheimer's news that came out from the Biogen Alzheimer's study. So I don't know if Chris, if you can share the screen and pull that up somehow.
It is. We're looking at Google's page right now. I don't know what link you want to click on.
Okay, there we go. I see it. So I would click not on the ad, but that first one there that says 5 hours ago. Window with the clinicaltrials.gov of this study, if you can find it.
So there's 17 studies for Biogen and Alzheimer's.
Okay, so try to go to that article again, like in a new window, and see what drug they're talking about in that article. Yeah, in that one. Let's see what drug they're talking about. Okay.
Aducanumab.
Try to find that study on there.
Biogen's treatment for Alzheimer's disease appears brighter after reviewers at the Food and Drug Administration indicated they believed the drug was sufficiently safe and effective. In a lengthy document released Wednesday, FDA staff appeared to endorse approving the treatment, which would become the first new Alzheimer's therapy in nearly 2 decades. The commentary, which provides the first glimpse at how FDA scientists view the oft-debated treatment, comes ahead of a Friday meeting of outside advisors who will issue a non-binding vote on whether to recommend Aducanumab's approval. Biogen shares rose nearly 45%, adding $17 billion to the company's market value. Wow.
Wow, so 45% in one day?
That's what it sounds like.
Can we pull up the Biogen stock really quick?
So 5 days. So yeah, it was at 243, 244 a share, and it went all the way up to
355.
Wow.
Yep, in 1 day.
Dr. Al, you missed it. You missed this one, Dr. Al.
In 1 day, it went up over a third. That's just amazing.
Yeah, 40%.
Yeah, 44% right now.
We all missed one.
Yeah, that's great. So
I think in regard of the stock, Dan and Chris, you have to be like more diligent to be checking the news and everything.
Right.
Okay. I would not consider that we missed it. I consider we never looked at it, because they said that yesterday somebody recommended it and today the stock went up. Okay, so somebody recommended to the FDA yesterday to be approved because it's a good medication yesterday. So if somebody watching the news yesterday who knew this one gonna surge today 44%.
And most people, this is where I think we have our advantage with being researchers, Dr. Al and Chris, is that we know how to look at clinicaltrials.gov. Maybe we know how to read between the lines a little bit with the existing study. Now the study is complete. Looks like the one Chris just clicked on. This looks like a phase 1. But if you I don't think too many investors of biotechs actually analyze clinicaltrials.gov. If they learned how to do this, like what we talk about every single week on this show, I think they would be much better equipped and more informed of investors. So that's what I'm saying. We missed it. I agree with you. We never looked at it. But we have been looking at the clinicaltrials.gov results. So we should have seen the phase 3 or the phase 2, whatever it was that the study completed.
Yeah, interestingly, I'm not seeing a phase 2 or 3 completed.
We're saying the Biogen sprinted almost 44% higher after U.S. Food and Drug Administration briefing document appeared to support its Aducanumab drug candidate ahead for advisory panel meeting Thursday. So tomorrow going to be the meeting to approve it or not to approve it.
So yeah, I guess tomorrow the FDA is going to make an official statement on it.
Exactly.
Holy
to
cow.
let us know if we can do the phase 2, because it looks like all the studies you found, Chris, on clinicaltrials.gov were just phase 1.
They were. And this drug's very expensive. It says a year's supply will cost the patient about $50,000.
But this is a monoclonal antibody for sure.
Oh,
Okay,
this is another
because
monoclonal antibody.
yeah, because of the MAB at the end map. So it is
Okay,
but what does it do exactly? Which the target for it? I'm not sure.
I got you. So interesting. So we see now 2, and both from Biogen, actually, right? Oh no, the other one was Regeneron,
Uh-huh.
the monoclonal antibody that Trump took for
Human
COVID, and now
monoclonal
this is,
antibody that has been studied to treatment Alzheimer's disease.
maybe they're using a IP number still. That you see that
No,
number
no,
in
no.
parentheses,
But
BIIB.
Aducanumab. Go back to
Here,
the
here,
uh-huh.
here. Let's make it simple for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah, there you go.
for the typist and speller.
Might find something now. 4
4
studies.
studies. There we go.
Enrolling by invitation, terminated. Okay, so enrolling by invitation. Huge study, and it's still enrolling by invitation. How many sites are in this thing? Maybe
Click
we
it.
find
Click it.
Dr. Al, California Research Institute. Where is it? Let's see.
I'm not in the study, my friend.
I know. Unfortunately not. We have the
Sure.
capability. So it's a lot of sites, 76. Can you see the IE criteria and
I would
all
expect
the efficacy and things?
for
Here.
2,400 patients, I would expect more than 76 sites.
Unless it's very simple. See,
Right.
participant was participating in a previous study at the time of the announcement of early term. Oh, okay, so this is like the extension study.
Uh-huh.
So that's always a good sign for people looking for like either investors or if you're a researcher. That's always, Chris, I think you would agree with me. When you see a sponsor doing like a long-term extension, that's often a very good sign before an official FDA approval. Would
Absolutely.
you not say?
Oh, absolutely. They've seen promising data. I mean, these are businesses. They're in the business to make money, so they're not going
Right.
to invest resources into something that doesn't look promising.
And if you
So-
think about the money it takes to do a study like this, they're not just going to throw that money, even if it's a company like Biogen. They're not just going to throw that money if they don't think that they have good results.
Exactly.
Because when we've done studies with other companies, when they do a long-term extension ahead of an FDA approval or ahead of a decision by the FDA, I've never seen the FDA not approve it.
I would agree. I can't recall that ever happening either.
So we're not giving financial advice, and maybe it's already priced in. Maybe FDA approval is already priced in, but it may be something worth looking at. If maybe this 355 goes to 425, 455 tomorrow or the next week.
I absolutely. So at least in my experience, when drugs are approved, they have a good solid few days of increase in stock price. Again, not financial advice. But then, depending on how well it's accepted on in the marketplace, oftentimes you'll see it decrease over the next few months, slowly, right?
Right.
But yes, there's
So
a haste to buy initially.
do you guys think the approval's already priced into the price, or what do you think?
I don't think so because this is not FDA approval. This is recommendation by only by one of the committees. Okay, because they're looking more into this study and like this company have another study, one that terminated, which is negative on the same medication, the same
Yeah.
study. So
So that's
so
interesting.
yes, so you don't know if the FDA gonna approve it upon the recommendation of the committee, or it's
Right.
gonna be a real just like they're gonna wait for more results or more number. So you don't know yet what's gonna happen tomorrow after the meeting.
We don't. Chris, can you scroll down on when this particular study started?
And I would agree. It's up. I would agree with that, Dr. Al. I would think that there's more possible more of a possibility for negative results than positive. In other words, if the FDA doesn't approve, you're going to lose 50%, right? Value.
Right.
If it is approved, I think maybe you see 20% gains, something like that.
Because it have
Yeah.
already surged the main surge.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. The only thing that would make me more confident in this is that right there. Look at the official title. This was started in March 13th with 2,400 patients. So the open label study with this many patients ahead of an FDA decision is a very strong sign of confidence on Biogen's part.
Absolutely. I would agree.
To do something like this.
Absolutely.
That's the only reason why it's interesting to me. If I didn't see this study here, for example, if we saw the phase 3A but no open label, I would be a little more skeptical because why are they not investing in open label if they're not so confident in their study, in the data?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think investors know how to look at clinicaltrials.gov this way, like we do. So if you're an investor in biotech, you need to subscribe right now. You need to find Chris's cell phone number and call him.
No, you don't.
And you need to reach out to Dr. Al on LinkedIn and myself also, because nobody else is talking about this kind of stuff. And look, we're learning as we go. Like, this is going to be a new strategy for me ahead of biotech, ahead of FDA approvals. I'm going to look at open label studies. I don't think anyone's tracking this.
Dan, I think we're talking here more about more sophisticated things in research, like the phase 1, 2, 3, A and B, and stage 4, and also So maybe you can give a brief about the phases, so the listener or the viewer or
Sure.
will be more aware about what we're talking about.
Yeah. So normally phase 1 is healthy volunteers, although in the case of this drug, Aducanumab, it looks like the phase 1 was on mild to moderate Alzheimer's, just like phase 1 in oncology and phase 1 in CNS are not always done on healthy volunteers. It could be done on the actual target population. But the purpose of a phase 1 study is not efficacy, right? I mean, they're collecting the data, a little bit of endpoints, but it's not long enough to be an efficacy study. It's just a short term to see if the drug is harming the patient, right? If they're like you said, it's a monoclonal antibody, and as we've discussed with the Regeneron study, with the cocktail Trump took with the monoclonal antibody, 15% of people develop some kind of allergic reaction to it. So that's the kind of things they're looking at in phase 1. And in phase 2, they're a little longer, they're mixing it.
I would add one more thing to that phase 1. Usually they escalate the dose until people can't tolerate, right? So they have an idea of where the dose level should be.
Right.
Tolerated dose level. Okay, MTD.
Yeah.
Exactly, maximum tolerated dose. Thank you, Chris. And then a phase 2, it's a little bit of the same, but they do more efficacy and it's a little bit more long-term, and they don't need to do MTD anymore because they already found the maximum tolerated dose. So they try to make the dose much less than that to make it practical for people to take on a medium-term basis. And then phase 3 is the same. They probably fine-tune the dose even more. And they're just looking long-term efficacy and, of course, safety. Safety is always in research, but now when you get to phase 3, it's more long-term efficacy. And then when you get to phase 3B, like the one we're looking at here, it's an open label. This is why I'm saying that I would be bullish on this particular drug without knowing very much about it, other than doing this podcast.
An open label means nobody's on placebo. Everybody's on active
placebo.
drug.
Yeah, and look how many patients they're trying to put in this study. That's not cheap. So even someone like Biogen, who's like top 20 pharma, this is not like a low budget study. This is a very high cost study. So for them to do an open label ahead of an FDA decision, to me, is a sign of confidence on the pharma team. And so if you're an investor and you want to be a more sophisticated investor for biotech, you need to learn how to look at clinicaltrials.gov. I know investors look at charts and all that, And, maybe we can learn about that as well, because I'm not expert in this, but in clinicaltrials.gov, this is like what I do. This is the business development. I use clinicaltrials.gov for a lot of stuff. And so when you see open label like this and you look at the news and you see the context of the headlines, this is just another tool you can put, again, not financial advice. Okay, let's repeat that again, not financial advice, but another tool that you can put in your tool belt when it comes to analyzing some of these phase 3 studies. If you see open label like this, it's generally a good sign.
I would agree. So moving forward, so again, as you said, not financial advice, but moving forward, could you see yourself looking for phase B or open label trials, phase 3 open label, and saying, yeah, this isn't priced in yet. I think I might buy some shares here.
Yeah, I would do exactly what we just did. Find the drug name, put it in clinicaltrials.gov, see all the studies that are out, the ones that have been completed, the ones that are ongoing, and just look at them all. I mean, even a big company like Biogen, this is like they're doing a lot of study. We only found 8 studies for it. So you can look at all the 8 studies. Some of them, if they're completed, you can find the results as well. And I would use that as an additional tool if I'm an investor.
So give me an indication, and we'll just look for phase B studies in that indication.
Anything Dr. Al is interested in.
Oncology, okay.
No. Let's go to depression.
Depression.
Yeah.
So
you're gonna find a lot, though. That's the problem with depression. It's
yes,
much
750
more,
studies.
It's much more refined if we have a drug, like a drug name.
So ongoing too, right?
Well, like the Alzheimer's one we just looked at, I think it was open by invitation, right? So it wasn't even like ongoing. It was something else. Enrolling by invitation. There you go. Yeah, enrolling by invitation.
Which would be a phase B study.
Well,
right?
Not necessarily. No.
Because you're not going to get it. Usually, they're not going to enroll into a open label.
Oh, good point. Good point. Yeah. Try that. Yeah,
2.
see 2 studies. So what's okay? Yeah, Chris, we just discovered a new strategy for finding some open label stuff. Long-term open label, flexible dose. This is for. Can you find the sponsor?
Fair amount of participants.
Yeah.
Down.
August 2016 it started. It's going to end in 2023. So who's the sponsor? Let's find
I'm
this.
looking. Lundbeck.
Yep.
So
Lundbeck.
can you Google Lundbeck depression drug? This study is supposed to be done in 2023, but the open label, here's the thing with open label, okay, the FDA usually makes a decision before the open label is scheduled to be finished.
Right.
So they may be making a decision soon.
So
if we can find the Lundbeck stock, we can find like news on this drug. So that's basically in a nutshell how I will start to do research, like due diligence as an investor when it comes to biotechs from now on. Thanks to the scoop. Thanks to my participation in the scoop.
So it may be a little early to buy into this stock
Lundbeck?
for this medication because you're still 2 years out.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So look when they started. They started in 2016.
Right.
So maybe this one already got approved and we just don't even know. That's the thing.
I suppose that's a possibility.
Yeah, because usually the FDA approves before the open label or right around the time the open label gets started, or maybe like a year into it. They don't really look at the open label data. That's just more for the FDA to look long term. But that's like a good sign, a bullish sign for a biotech or a drug company to invest, because it's not cheap to do clinical trial. So you're not going to do an open label of that size unless you have good data.
I think this has already been approved.
Yeah.
I think
FDA updates.
Trintellix.
Yeah. So we're late on that one. But hey, I mean, we just learned. We're not here to give you guys advice. We're here to teach you. Teach a man how to fish, and you feed him or her for life.
Yeah.
So that's how you do it, guys. I mean, maybe next week we'll look at another open label stuff. Whenever there's a drug that's about to get FDA decision, I think we should look for whether that drug company invested in an open label. And then how big of an open label study are they planning? I think that's a good additional tool to put in your tool belt if you're an investor. I'm going to start using them myself. Yeah, serious. I think this is the way to do it.
Yeah,
Maybe
you'll just
we need to collect our input in investing in biotech and make a book out of it.
I think so. You know, Eileen, who interviewed you for the Clinical Scoop magazine, which I hope we're releasing soon before the year's over. Eileen is an investigative journalist. So I think we give her the tools here. Do some investigative journalism. I want some historical examples of open label studies that started before FDA approval. And then I want the FDA determination within that same year. I think we're going to have like an 80% success rate on that. I'm just my hunch.
I think that will be a very good idea. Yeah, I don't think I read ever about looking into as a tool for stock picking or stock following or like predicting stock by doing this way.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, I think we're a very this is very insider baseball type of, only if you're in research do you know this stuff. I mean, you don't know this if you're just an investor. You don't really look at clinicaltrials.gov. You know what's in the pipeline, but you don't know how to analyze and read between the lines of what's an open label. So I think we stumbled onto something good.
Oh, you just have to Google, or not Google, but search on clinicaltrials.gov all the different indications, right? Because there's really no way to, in the front page or home page, there's really no way to minimalize that search, right? You can't, unfortunately, look for open label or phase B, I don't think.
I think you can type in open label, like
exactly
open dash label, the way they wrote it. And I think you can find, but then I would narrow it down by the drug. So you got to know, like, if you're iffy about a drug, about a stock, like, for example, what we just did with Alzheimer, right? Like, by accident, we discovered this. So we know the drug name. So we just go on clinicaltrials.gov and we see if there's open label for it. I think that's a simple way to do it.
Here, he found 7,000 trial.
159,000 trials I found with open label.
So Eileen's going to have a lot of writing to do.
Okay, 2,700 trials that are either not yet recruiting, or enrolling by invitation that are phase 3, open label. So there, you got 2,700 studies you're going to have to look at to determine which you're going to invest in.
Right. I think, like I said, I think if you know the drug name, it's a lot easier. If you're on the fence about should I buy this, should I not, I think one of the last things you should do is put in clinicaltrials.gov that drug and see if you can find anything open label and when it started, because I think then it will let you know if you're early enough or, if you have a little bit more time. I don't think that's the only criteria you should use, but it's another additional tool in your tool belt that I guarantee you your competition is not doing.
See, I would say also, again, if I were looking at these 2,708 studies, I would be looking something that's more common, right? I'm not looking for an orphan drug treatment, right? Because there's not a lot of money stock market wise to be made there. I don't think.
But you remember the study we did with, I guess we can say it, tardive dyskinesia. It's kind of an orphan,
Yeah,
a little bit.
You go only for enrolling by invitation.
I think enrolling by invitation is a shortcut to finding these open label stuff.
I think it's one of the
because
best
it's an add-on
criteria.
Add-on
exactly. See, 125. So from 2,700 to 125, and I think enrolling by invitation, that's give you that the company are very confident about their results, and they want certain type of patient for that.
So I'd be more agreed, and I would be more interested, I think, in a Parkinson's treatment than a Dravet syndrome. I've never even heard of it.
Sure.
Don't know what it is.
But here's the thing, Chris. I understand because the market's bigger. But there's a lot more incentives for these drug companies to work on orphan label stuff. There's like fast tracking and things like that. So it's actually, if you see an orphan drug that is doing an enrolling by invitation only or open label study, it's probably even more of a bullish sign because they don't really have to do that.
Of course, and I completely agree with you. And you're right. I mean, there's more treatments for Parkinson's, so the market's more tailored already, opposed to these treatments that there's nothing for. If you develop something, everybody that has it's going to take it.
So maybe next week, if we find something trending that's about to get approved, we can do this strategy again. But you guys, if you stayed till the end and watched this, you got your money's worth. First of all, you paid nothing, so you get your money's worth. Just to see Chris and Dr. Al handsome faces, you get for free.
You get that,
this
Dr.
Al?
Amazing faces.
Deal. Amazing
a bonus.
Deal.
A bonus. A bonus for the strategy. The awesome three guys strategy. Let's call it the awesome three guys strategy and create it. Come on, man. Register.
We make a logo. My wife will make a logo like this, and it's gonna be so nice. No, but seriously, guys, I think we just discovered this is why I like doing the clinical scoop. I'm learning probably more than you watching. Okay, it's like we're doing this because, well, I'm selfish. I want to learn, and so you guys can learn with us in the process. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you share. Although maybe you don't want to share it because you want to keep it for yourself, you sneaky people out there. But you know what? You got a new tool in your tool belt. And so hopefully you learned something new. And after watching this video, you're a little bit smarter than you were before you watched it. And that's really our goal every week. And thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you, Dr. Al and Chris. And let's see if we can do more of these kind of things next week.